Hello and welcome to Brick Brown Toys. Today we'll be reviewing LEGO Ninjago Dragon's Rising set number 71841 Dragonian Storm Village, retailing for $40 and released in January 2025. Starting off with the minifigures, first I'll go over the ones we've seen before. Nia's storm suit looks fantastic, probably being my favorite of them all. The color balance is done really nicely here. She uses her standard Dragon's Rising face print. Next, we have a standard Dragonian warrior. He looks great here, but is no different from the ones included in other sets. The same can be said for the next minifigure. The Dragonian scout here is exactly the same as he is in the other sets. He has the same axe build and everything, he still looks good though. Now we have Zane in his storm suit. I've given my thoughts on the storm suits before, but this one is new, seeing as it's actually exclusive to this set. Zane comes in other sets, but he's either shirtless without his mask or a large brick-built figure. The colors on this figure are pretty nice. I like when Zane uses gray as a secondary color because it differentiates him from other ninja who use a lot of blue. Not to say this figure doesn't have any blue on it though. The use of it on his hands, belt, and the logo on his back make it pop very well, making this one of my favorite suits of the wave. He, like Nia, uses standard Ninjago Dragon's Rising head print. Next we have Rogue, who is obviously Jay in his new bounty hunter persona. The printing on this figure is super awesome. The fur, banners hanging down, and gold electricity that are printed give this figure a unique look, and definitely make him stand out from any other character this wave. His hat here is a newer mold also used on Rocks of the Forbidden 5. Jay's head print here is also brand new. This is a new, one-sided, angry head print for Jay. This looks great. Finally here, we have Moro. This figure is incredible, and honestly, my favorite of the year. I'm probably biased, seeing as Possession is my favorite Ninjago season though. The printing on this figure is so nice. His outfit is not too dissimilar from the one he wore in 2015, but it is modernized much to its benefit, fitting in much more with the higher quality recent figures. One thing I will say about this figure is that even though the transparent green arm is awesome, it's a shame it doesn't match that of the 2015 Ghosts, seeing as the color is discontinued. The head print here is very nice and recognizable as Moro, just with the addition of cheekbones to make him look more mature. This set looks pretty nice. I like the stone Dragonian face on the front and the building techniques used to achieve it. I also like the vines along the build and how they're all growing in different directions. The lanterns featured in the set are also very unique and cool. This build has a nice triangular silhouette, however I can't help but feel this looks a little small for $40, which I will touch on more later. Turning the build around, there is not much to see here other than a skeleton included down there. I always like when LEGO includes these because it can be seen as an interesting potential story or an extra minifig. Now looking at the play features. First we have this rotating spinner. You can put two characters on it and have them spin and fight. It's manual, but it spins pretty well. I think the use of the Stormblade pieces here are probably better than the use on other sets. Also here is a rope piece that you can use to have a character climbing up, or you can remove it from the bottom here and have a character swinging. Now let's look at the main play feature of the set. You can place a figure on top of this bridge and then have it collapse by pulling this, and they can drop down into the dungeon with the skeleton. This play feature is fun but almost identical to the one found in 70753 Lava Falls. But this one honestly may be a little worse. I say this only because of the tooth piece used here on the end. I don't know if this is meant to represent a stalactite, but it doesn't have a definite placement and can easily be made to look odd. Next we have a cage here. It's very easy to remove and put a figure in, so that's good for play. This build is not very complex at all, but the inclusion of it is definitely beneficial to the set. That's what it looks like with a figure inside. The other side features a weapon post in which you can store weapons on if you desire. An extra sword is included, so it's never empty, or I suppose you could give it to another minifigure. Finally, I think it's also worth mentioning that the sides here are removable. This makes the set compatible with the Tournament Battle Arena sets from the Season 2 Part 2 wave. I don't know why they did this, seeing as these buildings would be in entirely separate realms, but I guess it's a plus for playability. Overall, I think the set is the worst value set of the wave. If it wasn't for Moro and Zane being exclusive to the set, I would definitely not recommend picking it up. The value on the set is not good, especially when you compare it to similar past sets like the Legacy Tournament of Elements set, with that one being less expensive, having a comparable build, and more minifigures. I'd unfortunately have to give the set a 2.5 out of 5 stars. That's all for the review. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and if you didn't, tell me what I can change in the comments below. As always, subscribe to my editor, Cobblestone. Later.